Okay, Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to the judges and all the people who are here today to watch the pitching session. My name is Norma binti Sulaiman and I'm going to present to you my module and my project, Urban Landscape Solution through the module Landscape Architecture, designed for the Taylor's University architecture students. So our discussion today will be focusing on this topic. I have a little bit of short introduction for you, the project synopsis, rationale, approach, student engagement, project impact, as well as project potential. So the project actually started with my own interest on urban public spaces. And this project is focusing on children living in urban living areas. And this is the story of Kaisara and Shafiq. So please enjoy this 20 seconds of video on the current condition of children in urban living environment. So, this is the current urban living space that our children are mostly exposed into. And this is in a state of poor, and it reflects the current urban poor real living condition. So, the idea of the project is to tackle the real urban complex life issues through my Urban Landscape Solution project. So, the synopsis of the project is basically focusing on problem-based learning and the implementation of Kolbe Learning Style Inventory 4.0. Through these projects, I aim to tackle the real complex urban issue where my students are able to transfer their concrete experience, reflective observation into an abstract conceptualization and active experimentation. And from this problem-based learning project, they are able to transfer their skills beyond the classroom and preparing the architecture graduate for the future. So this is the project rationale. Basically, it focuses on youth empowerment. Right, let's look at the bigger picture of what is concerning the youth empowerment today. So if we look at the United Nations concern, on International Youth Day 2019 and 2018, they discussed about transforming education pertaining to the group of young people. And in 2018, they discussed about the needs of safe space for youth. And then in our current context as well, we are talking about rethinking Malaysian youth, and we want to empower youth to become the better decision maker for our nation. So therefore, my project is to empower youth because these are the group of people who we know have unconventional thinking skill, who are very creative. They have a very distinct characteristic in acquiring knowledge and also comprehend knowledge. So if we look at the statistic provided by the Statistic Department Malaysia, there is a current shift in the age structure of Malaysia. Therefore, by the age, 75% of today's youth will constitute the workforce by the year 2025, and by the time we reach 2040, there will be about 49.5% of population in the group of young. Therefore, it calls for the need for us to rethink our youth immediately. Next. So it resolves around the issues and problems. Therefore, how do we create a better spaces for youth, and how do we transform our education to suit this group of people? So, in terms of safe space, which is reflecting my current issue, which is the urban living issue, they need a much more safe space. They need excellent spaces. They need more creative spaces and active spaces for them to develop themselves. And then in terms of education, they need something that is not conventional. They need something that is fresh and inclusive to them. And then to prepare them to be a better decision maker in the future, we want to reinvent them so that they become a better innovator and creator. So there is a huge task between us, the lecturers or the educators, towards the learners. And these are the group of people, which is the youth. So the project approach is through this innovation that I apply, I call it Life, and integrating it with the Kolbe learning style. So what is Life framework? Life is basically learning, inclusive, fun, and engaging framework, where in this applying the Life framework, I will switch my role as a lecturer, not just directive lecturer and student relationship, but I also become their mentors. I also become the facilitator, their coach, and evaluator. When I become their mentor, I facilitate them step by step. Because preparing an architecture graduate is basically dealing with all of you. You are part of our problem, you are part of our issues, and you are part of our joy as well. Okay, so they need to know that. So I need to assist them step by step. And then I will switch my role in becoming facilitator in the class as well. This is when I support their learning needs, because they need a lot of input from you as educator, because they are also just a newborn, basically. They don't know a lot of things, so we need to support them. And then at the same time, once you engage with them, you will know each student, each individuals are different. They have their strength, they have their weaknesses, they are more visual, they are more text-based, they are reader, they are quiet, so you need to focus on their strengths and weaknesses so that they can grow. And then in the end, I am also their evaluator, pertaining to evaluate the teaching and learning impact in the classroom and beyond the classroom. And how I facilitate this, I engage through the Kolbe Learning Style Inventory, where in the real context problem, the students are able to initiate their initiative, experience the real problem on site, imagine, act on it, and then reflect on it, decide, making the real decision, thinking, analyzing, and throughout all, my role and their role is to balance everything up so that we come up with a better urban design solution. Next. So this is how I design my project through the module with the Kolbe learning style. So these are the 14 weeks journey that I have designed so that we explore each of the problems that were given to them, and we harness the skills that we want them to master. So in week 1, I will be the learners and mentor, because this is the first day that I will meet them. I will have to instill the interest in them. And then in week 2, they are given the case study for them to benchmark. I need to communicate with them. They have to come up with a group, and then they will have to decide the group site and how to facilitate the site selection, and etc. So as it goes all the way, the build up of the competency is also leveling up. So it's divided into 14 weeks, and we have 2 weeks. We have 1 week where we have the online blended learning, and this is where the students will be able to communicate with us using our online Moodle system, and then we communicate through the Moodle chat and also Google Hangout if needed. So between these, there are a lot of engagement that happen face-to-face with the students. And all the way to 14 weeks, that's when I will evaluate their performance, and then we'll have an affirmation and conclusion of the module. So this is how I apply Life framework, okay? So the students are given lectures. Of course, lectures needs to facilitate. This is how we comprehend the knowledge towards them. So the lectures are not just normal lectures. The lectures content have to facilitate how they will know to relate with the real urban issues. So there will be a face-to-face lecture, and there will also be a lecture capture that they can also go back and view it online. And then in terms of inclusive, there will be a good selection of case study, because you as educator, you will know what is good and what is the current condition. So we cannot always just give 10 years behind. Our research, our case study have to be benchmarking in the next 20 years to impact the learners. Therefore, the case study is carefully selected so that their benchmarking is higher, so that as a future decision maker, they make a better decision for the nation. And then at the same time, we have a lot of engaging discussion. As you can see, the current youth are very engaged with social media, so they will post how they feel about the class today, and etc. And also we have fun through games and quizzes in the class. Next. So these are the students' engagement that you can see happens throughout the semester. So this is their site visit. On the site visit, they work closely with the community in the low-cost housing and urban living. They will be interviewing, they will be capturing the real situation, they will be transferring the map and design and the current context issue. They will be coming up with models, decision-making, and etc. And in the end, they will come up with a real visualization on how they solve the current issues pertaining to the children's space in the PPR. Okay, therefore this is the project impact. So through the implementation of LIFE, we actually reflect the project impact in terms of TLS graduate capabilities. Through this module, the students engage with almost all of the TLS graduate capabilities. At the same time, they have a better knowledge comprehension, skill competency, and social competency. And in the bigger picture, it balances with the Malaysian education blueprint between akhlak and also ilmu. So this is the feedback that I get through the surveys. So the students are very happy with the LIFE framework that apply into the module. They understand their role to be a youth better. They have a better understanding in engaging with social issue and how to solve it. And they have a better critical thinking and problem solving skill. And they really think that they are ready to be in the workforce in the future, because they say it's like they are the one doing the project in real and they help to solve a lot of problems. So they said that 98% of them agree that they are more passionate about what they do and why they are in the architecture course. And they understand when they are supposed to switch role in terms of flexibility, because when they approach the community, they cannot be someone very demanding or very sombong. So they have to know how to communicate with society and when to switch role as well. Next. So in terms of how I've been doing this module for about 3 years, and I saw the module enrollment has leveled up. I have more students coming up, and the summary of the module result, I have more A and A minus as compared to 2018, and my class has always been full. Next. And I am very happy that our module evaluation as well, I score 4.7 over 5. And it shows that my students are very happy with the module, that they learn a lot, with some of the summative reflections given by them, that they feel that the module has taught them and prepared them to be workforce ready, and they understand their role better and what the career are going to be, as well as some of the qualitative comments using my method. I'm an amazing mentor to all the students and etc. And this is my project potential, which is I'm really holding to it. I hope by the time, now we are in the development and implementation stage. So we have experiment live, and then by next year we hope that we are going to make an IPO and create a train the educators so that they can implement the live framework into their teaching module. It can also be a credit transfer module, and in the future live will be collaborating with the community, emphasizing on the working with the local community, resident association, local authorities like DBKL, KPKT, as well as NGOs like Think City. Therefore, I end my presentation. Thank you, and I open the floor for question and answers.
Thank you very much. It was very engaging.
Thank you.
I'm captured by your the roles that the teacher plays. You know, as an educator myself, I'm very interested in knowing how the various roles translate into the kind of switching that you do. You talked about the students doing the switching. I'm more interested in how the teacher does a switching within the immersive environment.
Yep.
And how do you know when to go from focusing on assisting? No, go back to that. Go back.
Sorry.
I thought that was really well put.
Oh,
How do you know? Are
Okay.
you playing with that? Okay.
Yeah, no.
So how do you know when to switch from assist to evaluate? Because it's a fine line, isn't it? Because if you are not the evaluator, that's fine. But if you're the coach and the mentor and the facilitator, you're feeding them lots of guidance. But how do you step back and then evaluate them? What do you do?
Okay.
What's the immersion that you do as an
Right.
educator?
Thank you so much. Yes, it's like a fine line in between four roles. But if you understand how architects work, okay, when we go to our site, the kids are most likely know nothing about it. So we have to facilitate them. Okay, what do you do on site? Sorry to interject. When you say kids, are you talking about your students? Yeah, my students, sorry. Okay, No, the students, the learners. Okay, I will switch to the learners. So the learners are confused or have zero knowledge about how to run a site evaluation. So therefore, we have to facilitate first. And then we mentor them. How do you want to communicate with, for example, how do we approach someone who sees you coming with a DSLR, or they might be intrigued on, what are you trying to do with my housing area? Are you trying to document something that is going to have a negative impact? So we have to teach them, okay, this is how you approach, you give salam, you tell that you are a student, you are doing a survey, you would like to get the feedback. So that's when you mentor them. This is how you do. Prior to that, also at the same time, you have to tell them, okay, dress appropriately, don't overdo it, or don't overexpose yourself as well. And when you see something that people are not happy, do not engage further, just say thank you. So you have to switch your role to that. And at that time, we are not evaluating that, are they that stupid to execute this project? No, because you are the educator. They come to you to seek for the knowledge. So this is where you impart the knowledge to them. But how they perfect it, you let them grow. How they perfect it. And then when you facilitate, okay, so when they come back, so I have pictures, I have my sketches, everything is so sketchy. All right, so then you say, okay, this is a proper format. So itemize. Is it a strength? Is it a weakness? Is it an opportunity? Is it a threat? Therefore, if I didn't go to your site, okay, there might be 5 different urban living areas. For example, Bukit Jalil, Pantai Dalam. Okay, so I cannot imagine. So this is how you put your pictures. This is how you select your pictures. So that's when you facilitate. That is to support the learning needs. And when you coach, for example, they can, they call me Miss Norma. Miss Norma, the people there are very poor. I pity the kids, they don't have this. Okay, so how do you put this in a sentence? So that's when you coach them. They have the understanding, but you need to facilitate, okay, the current site condition is in despair state. So that's how you present. And then when they present it in a proper presentation format, that's when you evaluate them. Did you convey all that? Because you know, as a mentor, you have delivered the content, you have facilitated how they need to present, and you coach them according to their strengths or weaknesses. And when they present in the presentation format, that's when you evaluate them. So you are able to also say, you are lacking of this in terms of this, so where is this content? And then you let them present. So if they're able to speak verbally, but in the presentation format it did not support, then maybe, you evaluate it between mastering, beginning, or whatsoever according to your rubric. Yes, that's my answer for your question.
Okay, I have one question. So regarding if let's say you want to implement your framework, your innovation in a large group of students, how do you foresee in that context?
Okay, so can you go to the next slide? So the previous slide, Bill. Okay, so if you know or if you don't know, the architecture students usually in our class is a lot. We have at least 120 students in the class. So a site study is basically carrying all these people. So that's why I would like to make the train the educator as a module, so that the educator itself understand how to implement this life framework, so that as individual, because when you go to, in an architecture setting, there are about 7 to 8 tutors in a class. Okay, and they are in charge of these smaller groups, like 25 of the students. So if we can capitalize on the educator themselves, then the framework can work well in the whole classroom setting. Thank you. Any further question?
Okay, let's say for example, in a very resource constrained context, how do you want to implement this kind of innovation?
Resource constraint?
You mean that the financial is constrained?
Implementation of the life framework
Yeah.
or the strategy?
Your strategy.
Okay. At the moment, we are working in a cost constraint situation, but as per how university facilitates, we can always innovate our way to get our message across. So if there is no support in terms of facilities, we can always go online, MOOC, and you can record yourself, or I can record myself and teach the framework, and it can be spread out through online learning, so you can use your own time and learn in terms of, share the documentation within the online setting. Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for listening to my presentation.